Like, not gonna hold the long since we started, right? We're gonna go ahead and get started. They just had a conversation. We were going to get started to what everyone's talking about in regards to this small knowledge in regards to What out? What's happening, bro? What's good with the Hey, man. Busy. We're talking about a little bit ago. Ask for cop, how you doing, brother? You know, we've been here so long, ask for cop, they'll switch groups. We're going to change up the drink that he was drinking because the person. Somebody had me struck. Yeah, he was a little scared of it. He was worried.
I tell you too, after cop, man, MJ, man, you know, every good show has to have a villain, right? So just know that you become the villain.
Oh yeah.
Hey, just know, man. Folks be like, is that cop gonna be on? Hey, that means you're doing a great job.
But like I said, man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. This wasn't planned, but everyone is talking about it right now. Simone Biles withdrawn from the Olympic women's team in the final of that event. She's not withdrawn from the Olympics, but she withdrew from the final team event. Crazy thing is she withdrew and they still got a silver medal because of what she had done and she wasn't at her best. The word is that she withdrew because of mental health issues. And reading the statement here, and we get to it, she said that you have to be 100%. If not, you end up getting hurt. She said the day has been really stressful. I was shaking, I couldn't get a nap. I never felt like this going to a competition. And I tried to go out there and have fun, but once I came out, I know my mission. Now she started the competition. And then stopped. You were competition, so y'all can get competition. Did she quit? Did she let her teammates down, or did she let the United States down, or yeah, give me comments.
I mean, that's a tough one, you know. I would imagine that someone that's competing on the level that she has, kind of letting down. I would imagine she'd rather herself down in some shape and fashion. I'm sure she gets a point in herself that she was able to finish the career for her teammates. You know, and then something I just thought about, you know, as we were briefly talking about. You know, I don't know how close this particular group is, but you know, last Olympics, all those girls were together for a long time. And like, when you watch some of the events, it's celebrated, but a lot of people don't actually understand now or knew. And she's not with that group of girls that she was with for all those years. You know, she was the young at that group in the previous Olympics. Now she's the OG, you know what I mean, with a bunch of young girls. One thing maybe she don't feel the same. You know what I mean? In terms of, you know, these are my girls, these are girls I started with, these are girls, these are, you know, and all the pressure is definitely on, you know. She was leading in every category for the U.S. team. Even where she was, she still was leading. I mean, I saw the number, she was clear cut over everybody else on her team.
Before you get into one more thing, we began from the statement that she said that this time around she wanted to compete for herself in the way that she did in 2016. She pushed the limits of the sport simply to see what her body is capable of achieving. She basically said that she feels that she is representing all of the athletes that were sexually abused in the court by our coach. So she was trying to do a lot of this for herself.
It's not even like, that's an easy one. I feel like what I was talking about. I think she's been good, basically. She's won Olympic medals, she's won 4 world championships. she has movies and many rappers that continue to move after her. And that's because she understood it. So what I look at it is that she was molested by somebody as a child who was put in a position to help people in the Olympic committee over gymnastics. We so much about it because it was a cover-up story. And she's carrying that, and then she's carrying the weight of everybody riding. But this team isn't as talented as past teams. Like we all know, if it wasn't for her earlier schools, they wouldn't even get in the silver medal. For her now, it's still being silver with the silver medal, it tells how good she was. I think this is larger than sport. I think we talked about a young black woman that is very pressure of that, because every time she performs, she's performing for us in a great, any of our has very good. And then that team's lesson, you come out with that, but that's like that. Now you out there for everybody. And we don't know what's transpired. You got to talk about somebody that's one game better. I watch her all the time. She's never stepped out. She stepped out. So that's telling you something got to. You may never know what it is, but I think it's more than, just, if she had that, the goal was her. For her to step out, it had to be something else.
Clear coverage for me.
Go ahead, keep going.
Anyway,
One thing that the whole stress thing, and I get it with the Olympics. I don't know what they're paid, but I know they're not paid like professional athletes because they consider it to be an amateur sport.
They're technically not paid for that part. Right. They get sponsorships,
sponsorships and things of that nature. What I hope is that, and Jamie, you spoke about it. I'm a believer. Mental health. If you're not right, you're not right. Can't nobody tell you if you are right. That type of thing. But I hope that this doesn't become something that the professional athletes start using as an excuse to not perform. That's what I'm worried about. We can't imagine the pressure that they have. I mean, seriously, we can't. But the thing is, if you choose a certain line of employment, you got to know what comes with it. So with the Olympic thing, again, I don't want to say that you're getting paid enough money to do this or that, but I just hope that this doesn't become something that a lot of professional athletes start using as a crutch. That's the thing that I don't want to happen.
And that's one of those touchy subjects because it's similar to speaking of the gay community, things of that nature nowadays. Just saying, Me Too. You got to be real careful on what you say. You know what I mean? And hopefully that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure there are a lot of people who think that same way. In terms of we hope that's not the case. But because if you say that, you're gonna get ripped to shreds. You know what I'm saying? So you look at somebody like Naomi Osaka, she did the same thing. And it was after a controversy that she addressed. You know what I'm saying? But then she came back and said, well, I'm withdrawing for mental health reasons. And everybody applauded her. And who would say that's not what it was? But then this is her first event since then. She got knocked out, in the third round. Did that play a part? Not playing, major level. It's a touchy subject, man. It's real. We got to real careful.
I think a lot of it has to do with, these athletes I was excited since she was a little kid, like 8 or 9, 6 started out. And Naomi was the same way. They showed her, I think they had a special on Netflix, and she's actually, following her around. She was doing that since she was a little kid. So I think a lot of times parents live through their kids or force their kids harder than they should be forced. And I think after a while, it just catches up to people at different times. You can look at some of the pro football players that kind of went off the deep end, Terrell Owens. You look at some of the other Johnson, Chad Johnson, most of the receivers. And I think that it's just a lot of pressure. Look at some of the comedians.
So wait a minute. So tell me what you mean by that. Terrell, you named 2 names in particular that just triggered my thought process. What are you saying about them? The pressure got to them?
I'm not saying so much pressure, but the things are coming at you from every possible angle. And sometimes you make decisions on a second that probably would have been better for Terrell Owens to buy out instead of do some of the things he did. Because it cost him his career. Same thing with Chad, cost him his career. Because as good as they were, they could have been a possession season like they allowed these other guys making the Jets. They allowed him to do that for years. Go to a possession season mode.
I don't know about that. Terrell Owens, I don't think he messed his career. I think he could have extended his career a bit longer, so he became more of a target.
Iverson's another example.
Chad Johnson, I think his arrogance cost him his career.
When you think that was, I just heard you say Allen Iverson, do you think it was pressure that did that? Sometimes you just get open.
I used to see the girl out in high school, I was carrying the bucket trucks. And the entourage, the pressure of who he is. And I'm not saying they don't carry some of the weight for creating the characters that they become. But that pressure kind of crushes them at some point. Because Iverson could have been another kid. He could have played at least 4 or 5 more years just distributing the ball and taking a couple shots.
He didn't want to change. He wanted to be the guy. You know what I mean? And
Sometimes they just number one.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, I do believe in some aspects of what happened to her is, she did get, and her just due. She earned the right, I think, to start getting those endorsements and all these things that's happening for her. She's earned that right to get it because after all these years, she finally started to make real money. You know what I mean? However, when you're doing that, it takes away from training. It takes away from the things that you, prior to that, her whole life was probably gymnastics, and guess what? Gymnastics. You know what I'm saying? And now it's, she got a boyfriend now, you know what I mean? And they always together, you know what I mean? She's getting all these endorsements. She's doing a lot of things that's is now gymnastics, endorsements, boyfriend, family. Oh yeah, let me get some more gymnastics in there. You know what I mean? And I think But she's so great, even with that, she still led her team. You know what I'm saying? But with all the other stuff going on, you know, and then she probably looking at, you know, they really depend on, it's all on me. It's all on my back. Mm-hmm. You know, that part I think can't weigh on you. When it's like, everything is on me. If I don't do it, we're certainly gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that part can play a role. You know what I mean? But yeah, what I hope is her quitting at this stage doesn't cost her some of these endorsements.
Exactly.
Because you only get that one shining moment,
especially in
that kind of field.
Right.
I mean, because after gymnastics, where do you go from there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where do you go when you've been doing that your whole life? Where do you know? All you have is hopefully get endorsements, and because where's Mary Lou Retton now? Where's all those other gymnasts who got golds now? Yeah, I mean, where they at? You know what I mean? You only get one shining moment, you know, in that field. So.
I had to laugh. He said the pole.
You heard that, John? Yeah. I was gonna stay away from that.
On the pole, that's where you say they can go after gymnastics on the pole. Okay, all right. But you know what? My apologies. As you can see on the screen, it does give our telephone number. The phones are up and working, so if you have a comment, you have a question, opinion, give us a telephone call, 404-500-1605. But when you said something about parents, parents living off of, you know, living through their kids and everything, takes us into something else we was going to speak about, the whole new ruling on the Neal ruling, which is what? Name, image, and likeness. So, you know, the thing that got me, I was all for it in regards to the college kids. I was all for it. Yeah, you know, go for it. But then I saw that a high school kid, basketball player, that's going to be a junior this year, actually signed with an agency, and he's going to make millions of dollars because he has a Twitter following of 5+ million. So, you know, we're going to have some coaches give a call in that we're going to try and come in. You know, how do you coach a kid or parent a kid that's basically, in regards to parenting, they're taking care of your household? You know, how do you parent a kid that's making millions of dollars, and as a coach in high school, let's face it, basketball, he's probably going to one of the basketball factories, so their coaches are probably making $250,000 to $500,000. How do he coach a kid that's making millions? You know, how does that work? Give me your opinion on how would you parent your child if all of a sudden playing a sport they was able to make millions of dollars?
Well, I think if you got them, if you were a 2-parent household or even a 1-parent household, but you stayed in his ass from day one, I think then it's out of love. He's going to respect you when he makes that money. But if you bend the knee and let him run the household, he will run the household if you let him. So I think that's more of a parent thing. If you didn't have shit going in your life and you banked everything on your kid, then yeah, the kid's probably going to run shit. But if you had like careers, I don't think that would happen, because just out of disappointment, your son's going to respect you. And he may do dirt and do silly shit, but he knows he's carrying your name. He's going to act accordingly. I don't think that'll be an issue with somebody that parent correctly, male, female, single, or 2-parent household.
But now let's be realistic. A majority of these kids aren't coming from 2-parent households. You know what I mean? Especially the ones who are getting to that next level. A lot of them are coming from single-parent households. A lot of them are coming from, you know, staying in places that, you know, not of best choice. You know what I mean? You got It's a mixture right there. I agree with you. If you coming up in a not necessarily a 2-parent household, but that's always the best way, of course. But if you're coming up in a household that there's discipline, there's certain levels of respect, and the parent has been, you know what I mean, like a Zion mama who's been there from day one, you know what I mean, and he loves and respects his mama so much because she was always right there. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson mama who's like, no,
Yeah.
he's not playing no other position but quarterback. You want to put him somewhere else? We'll ride. You know what I mean? You got some of them mamas who are strong enough to do that, but then you got that family has nothing, had never had nothing, and all of a sudden this kid is getting $1 million as a 16, 17.
Look,
hey.
yeah, but a lot of that, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree because you got to look at LeBron didn't have the best situation. But like I said, I met LeBron when he was 18.
But
outside
again,
the club, he was doing an appearance there.
But again, LeBron wasn't making millions as
He was
a
making
junior.
money, man.
Hey, don't get me wrong, he was getting paid something.
Yeah, he was getting
We
paid.
all know that.
Anybody that plays AU ball on that level, they
But
get paid.
we talking about millions.
What millions?
We talking about straight up.
Right. This
I think-
straight
signed a
paycheck.
endorsement deal.
I still think a lot of that has to deal with, it's like if somebody's raised up in the church and you learn right from wrong at an early age and it was still from your parents and the church also. Now, not saying people that raised in the church, so don't start the calling, but I'm just saying that when you have those support systems and you were taught right, and I know in law enforcement you felt it, and you felt it in correction, when that little bird in your shoulder stopped you from doing something that you wanted to do because you're upset or angry, and it wasn't because of the regs of the Atlanta Police Department, it wasn't because of anything else other than you were taught right. So I think when a first child is taught right, I don't care how much money you dangle in, 'cause that's just like saying it's okay to do what the fuck you want if you got millions. And I don't think it is. And I think you're gonna have the kids that do act a fool are the ones that never had no parental control. That's the ones that, if they didn't have the money, would be part in the same club as their mama.
How is that different than the freshman? The rookie got the same situation. Rookie get his money coming out of college, he blows it. But they got programs. There needs to be some programs of agents, some credible
No,
agents.
there are programs.
Yeah.
Every one of them sports have classes,
Talk to 'em, yeah.
and they teach these kids. But is well, and they need that. They have to implement the same thing. But it's so brand new. You know what I mean? That's so brand new. But to your question, in the NFL and now the NBA, the NFL been doing it for years. And I've watched some of them courses they give. They bring back all them old school guys, and they come back and, you know what I mean? I remember listening to Deion Sanders talk one time, and Deion Sanders said, I'm about to give y'all the most popular class, the most popular word you'll ever learn in your whole career. Y'all ready? No. That was it. He said no. Once you learn how to say no, you will survive in this business. But if you can't say no, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? But so they're teaching this to 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. To this point, you talking about a 16, 17-year-old high school student.
Yeah. He's an upcoming junior.
This kid about to go into the 11th grade and just signed a multi-million-dollar endorsement deal.
Yes.
I mean, so we talking about from a parent, not just a parent, but you talking about now from a school,
Right.
coaches.
Yeah.
You talking about your peers. You know what I mean? That kid will have to be very, very grounded.
Now you talking about
I think you're gonna really see the real personality.
you
and
talking
who
about
somebody
pressure.
is. But I think you're gonna see who somebody really is, because you also got to look at kids aren't the same. Like when we were growing up, you were stupid as hell when you was a junior. You were just chasing girls and doing whatever. But I think now, because of social media and everything else, these kids are much more advanced. They're a hell of a lot more worldly than we were at that age.
But are they?
Actually, and that's something that's worrying me about this whole
That's probably written into
ruling.
the contracts for them to keep the money.
That's yeah. That's yeah. He goes to a prep school. I mean, all of the. Well, see, the thing is, for the kids to make this amount of money at that, I mean, they're not, like I said, they're in a basketball factory. They're not going to Stone Mountain High. They're not going to Marietta High. They're going to what is it? A school down in Orlando.
IMG Academy.
IMG Academy. What is it? The one in Virginia, Fork Union or something like that. They're going to schools like that where you're there to play basketball. You're supposedly getting an education too, but you're there to play basketball. But either way, you're still talking about a kid now that is making millions of dollars that he doesn't have to hide that he's making it. Let's get this. I mean, and that's what I'm saying about this thing.
I think they'll write that into the contract at some point.
Well, see that's the thing.
Screw it up, and then they'll write it in.
And that's the thing. They put this ruling out. I want to read up some more on it because, again, like you said, what makes a kid now when you're already making millions of dollars and forget high school, college? Why are you going to keep putting your best foot forward to get better when you're making all of this money already?
That's the point.
See, the NCAA messed up by not just paying the kids some money while they were in school. Now you're talking about this. They can sign contracts. They can sign contracts. Like you said, what makes them say, I'm going to stay in school and get my degree now? Or I'm going to come back and get my degree because I told my mom I was going to do it. What makes...
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
If you want to do a contract that way, but the point is, if I'm a student like that, I now have to decide how much risk I'm going to take.
Exactly.
And playing in certain games and whatnot, how many I'm gonna start putting myself on a limit, on a count.
Right.
You know what I mean, like a pitch count.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take a chance blowing my knee. I'm not
coach.
gonna take a chance doing this because I got
coach, I'm
$2 million.
good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good, coach.
You know what I'm saying?
I got 2 touchdowns. I'm good.
That's what you got.
But you got to look at it like this. That's the same way with those schools exploit those kids. LeBron.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, and
then the coach at the college
called him out on it.
Called him out like, hey, you left your teammates out to dry because you going pro. You know what I'm saying? But some of these people, this their best memory of, you know what I'm saying, playing baseball.
But you got to look at it realistically. All those schools, including the one he's going to play for in college, we're going to pimp him. It's just like the rule that you just made up where college athletes can get paid. The Alabama quarterback,
right? That's what we're talking about.
Down, and he's got $1 million contract.
Right.
Well, see, the whole thing I look at with that though, everybody's looking at it the wrong way. The corruption that's going to cause is going to be astronomical because now every single player.
How is it corrupt?
It's not corruption anymore because it's legal.
I think where it's going to cause recruiting cheating is because now schools like Stanford.
You going to the highest
deep
bidder.
pockets, exactly.
Yeah. You going to the highest
now
bidder.
you know a guy because I can own a.
You're legally going to the highest bidder.
You're going to do a commercial for me, and I'm paying you $1 million for it.
You've all now the schools are not paying these kids for the commercials.
No,
it's outside. But see, that's all.
The same boosters, the same boosters that fuck shit up before is gonna fuck that up.
And that's the thing. I feel that the NCAA I feel they didn't feel that this thing was going to be passed, that the judge was going to be in favor of the student athlete.
I think they got caught.
They got caught out.
So they had to make an arrangement before they lost all control.
No, they did lose.
They did lose.
I mean, they kind of. I thought it was
no. The Supreme Court.
No, Supreme Court
passed it.
And they said, hold up. They said it was illegal for the whole time you've been doing it. So now think about the lawsuits that's probably about to come at them for all the other players that's been on these NCAA PlayStation games.
Lost his Heisman.
Reggie Bush already said I should get my Heisman back. Chris Webber, the Michigan Wolverines, already saying we should get all our games back. We should have our banner back up. Everything Chris Webber did was illegal how they did it. You know what I mean? How they did them.
Use the Fab Five. That's the best example of it because Jalen Rose said it. Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, they went on to the NBA to make millions. Jimmy King and Ray Jackson, they wasn't as fortunate to go make millions of dollars playing basketball. But if they would have gotten paid back then for what they did in college basketball, because let's face it,
they changed
it,
and they filled up all those seats.
They changed it. They changed the way college players dress, professional players dress. I mean, these dudes was the first ones to really come out with black low-cut socks.
Baggy shorts, brother.
The bag of shorts.
Bag of shorts.
The
That was
bag of
all
shorts
them.
in college, that was all them.
That you couldn't even find black socks back in them
Right.
days. They were sold out every store because of them.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Jalen Rose said when they first thought about doing it, they didn't have socks back in them days. Jalen Rose said he was wearing dress socks out on the court with them rolled down, folded inside. I mean, there's so much that can come out of this. The NCAA, man, in the next 5 years might not even be there. Honestly.
I can see that.
Because of the lawsuits and their audit, I mean, of course they might do
But
it.
the problem with that scenario is everybody's not Jalen Rose. Everybody's not Chris Webber. Everybody's not Reggie Bush. Everybody's not the Alabama quarterback. What about the guy that's an offensive lineman who don't get talked about? What about the third wide receiver on the team that don't get talked about? What about, you know what I mean? These are the guys you got to worry about. Is how do you, and I've been saying this before they even passed. I was like, how do you mix that in with this guy's getting $1 million endorsement? Master P's son, Hershey Miller, just signed a $2 million contract. Have you ever heard of Hershey Miller? Do you know what school he's going to?
Bruh.
Just signed a $2 million contract. You don't even know what this kid is.
HBCU too. I forgot which one.
$2 million.
Yeah, he's going to HBCU. Tennessee State,
Hey, you know what I'm saying? So what about the guys on that's
the rest of the people on Tennessee State?
He's gonna roll.
What are they gonna get? A car endorsement that's gonna pay them $500?
Some of them ain't gonna get nothing, brother.
Right. So
some of them not gonna get anything.
So how do you deal with that dynamic? So
that's my point from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, and
how do you coach that? How do you coach it?
This is why
Eric,
I'm hoping.
I see you watching. How you coach it?
Yeah, tell Eric to call in. I'm hoping that they call in. How does a coach manage that in the locker room? How do you do it?
King from Miami set up a program for everybody. So like basically he's taking all his endorsement deals and dispersing the league. Yeah, he's also
Who is this?
King, Eric King for the Miami Hurricanes. He's doing that because his lineman got a block for him. So that's why he's doing that.
Everybody not gonna do that.
Everybody ain't gonna do that.
I wouldn't do that.
he probably has a great chance to go to the NFL. This is probably
His best opportunity.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I'm telling you, the three of y'all, I'm looking at y'all right now. I can't see y'all playing beside somebody that's making $1 million. You got a block for him, and then y'all gonna hit him up. Y'all say, look, dog.
I'm telling you,
You want that block to be there in the fourth quarter?
college sports has basically become a professional. It's a professional league now, especially the SECs and the ACCs and the Big 12s. They have become a professional sport now. That's basically what's going to happen, But like you said, usually you would think at the HBCUs it might be evenly split out, but now again, it basically goes off of if a kid has a great Instagram following or if he has a great Twitter following, because they know that if I put my T-shirt on you, millions of people are going to see it. And they don't even have to, some of them probably not even going to be that good, and they're going to get these endorsements.
Hey, man, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, but it's like everything else adjusts. I think it's going to adjust. But I think where it's really going to affect college football, but it's going to even out the parity. The first couple of years is going to cause issues, but after that, there'll be more, the talent will get spread around, because if no longer will Alabama get the number 2 quarterback in the nation when they got the number 1 quarterback in the nation.
But they still can get it. I'm gonna tell you why.
You gonna still get the endorsement?
Because you're still gonna get the endorsements. It ain't got it. Yeah, it has.
You're right.
But hey, look, no. Forget the booster. It's not even about the booster. If the number 2 quarterback has 1 million followers, he's gonna get paid.
Get paid.
Period. And the thing is, he may not ever play. He may not ever play.
University of Texas, Stanford, Alabama, and all those with those endowments of hundreds of millions and almost $1 billion. Believe me,
listen,
those boosters gonna be paying do a commercial.
But this way you're not. Look. This way you're not getting it.
It's bigger than the boosters.
The boosters ain't got nothing to do with this.
A car dealership can give you that money.
Right.
Well, that's
anybody.
No, that's my point. The boosters are gonna be. Anybody in Alabama that's Alabama fan
y'all not
is going to be paying all them players. Believe me, everyone in players.
It's not even about Alabama.
It's not
about the car dealerships in Alabama.
Now they don't have to hide it.
It's not even about the car dealerships in Alabama. This dude can sign a contract for somebody that's in California and still play for Alabama.
Oh, I understand that. Well, I'm saying
I know he's talking about the regular stuff, but see the regular stuff now. Again, they've always been paying them guys on the table.
Exactly, but now they don't have to because now you can just hold a sign up in front of my business saying "Shop here," and I can give you $5,000 after every game or whatever they play.
I don't think that's going to bear much. If a kid has an Instagram following or a Twitter following, he could go to Rockshire University. If he has a following, I don't care if they don't have any boosters. He can still make $3 and $4 million.
But I'm saying the school did it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't even matter about the school they go to. If they have a following, they're still gonna make the money. Alabama's still gonna get their people. They still gonna get their people no matter what. Period. The problem is now those players that usually sit on the bench at Alabama and get better by their senior year, they're going to be sitting on the bench now getting $2 million a year and not getting better because they're already making $2 million a year. This is the thing that's going to change college football. No, they don't. No, they don't.
You sign a contract. Followers. What you mean? I mean,
followers.
The problem is, in the grand scheme of things, you want to perform because you want to take that $2 million and times it by 10 by making it to the next level. You know what I mean? But do 18, 19-year-olds think that way? You know what I mean? Again, if you take away the main guy, the guy that everybody, the 5-star recruit that everybody wants, he's gonna get paid good money. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get paid good money. So his incentive is a little bit bigger because he's like, I'm gonna play this 1 year or 2 years and I'm out of here anyway. But the problem with that 5-star guy is how much effort does he want to put in and what injury risk does he want to take? Because I didn't already sign for this X amount of millions of dollars. Do I want to take a chance of getting injured? And it goes back to, let's talk about what we just talked about with Simone Biles. You know what I mean? Her mental health injury, for lack of better words, cost her team.
Yeah.
Cost her team.
Cost the gold.
Cost the gold medal. So now take that in perspective of this athlete. Same scenario. You know what I'm saying? You just imagine college football. The big guys who thought they were gonna get drafted started pulling out of the bowl games left and right already.
Exactly.
Now just imagine.
I ain't think about that.
Got millions. Why am I gonna do that?
I mean,
when you know you're gonna get.
I saw last year a player.
Look at it realistically.
Look, last year a player at Duke University, actually pulled out of playing the rest of the season for Duke University so that he can prepare himself for the NBA draft.
But I mean, I don't have a problem with that because you just got to be realistic about it. If that kid blows his knee out on the first play of practice, and
that's what we're speaking about.
The only thing they're gonna do to him, son, we'll let you finish your goddamn college education here. That's all they're gonna do for him. But on the other hand, if you just got to be realistic about it. If you've already solidified yourself as a top 5 draft pick, it wouldn't make sense taking that chance because it's business. I mean, there's that side of us that want the good games and want everything there, but that's just like if you got a setup where, you know, your opening night, Dave Chappelle gonna be here versus, you know, whoever. And you're gonna take the steps to make sure that open night happens that way. Even if you got to cut corners somewhere else to make sure you get first round draft pick open night. And it goes on to everybody and every single thing. Because at school, if a kid comes out, if you got the second coming of, who's a great quarterback in college? Tebow, yeah. Tebow, but you got my son, and you just gave him $800,000, but Tebow come the next year, you're not going to renew that contract because the second coming of Tebow's there, and you're going to forget my son ever played football.
But again,
and that's the reality.
But see, the thing, you're still going off of somebody paying them to play. They're not being paid to play. Understand what I'm saying? They're being paid. No. Look, they're being paid to take pictures. That's what they're being paid, bruh. They taking the pictures because of the followers that they have. They're getting
It's not
paid.
just the following.
Yes, it is. How does a high school player?
I'll double down on the bet on this. You can be the starting quarterback of every SEC school is going to make at least minimum of $200,000 guaranteed by the end of this
that's
year.
fine. But you know what? You know who he's making it from? He's making it from people that want his followers to see him. It's not
Ain't
about
got
what
shit to do with
bruh.
followers.
Yeah. So okay.
I think
Hold
it's
on.
the big people, yes. The big people,
I'm
yes.
gonna tell you why it has something to do with followers.
Yeah, for the big people.
Because again, we're talking about a high school player that is going to make millions of dollars. Who is he making? Ain't nobody paying him, but these companies are paying him to wear their stuff. That's it.
Via social media.
Yeah, see, but he's the exception. I'm talking about
He's the first one to do it.
quarterback.
He's not the exception. He's the star.
He's the first one to do it. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep
What I'm
going.
saying is, what's going to end up happening if you're the starting quarterback of Marietta and you're a 4-star, you're not a 5-star recruit. The starting quarterback of Marietta, the starting quarterback of Valdosta, they're 4 stars, but they're 4 stars that can play in the SEC. Guaranteed, since this Alabama quarterback got $1 million, everybody else to keep pace with Alabama, all those boosters getting together. Goddamn, Johnny,
You keep going with the
You're
boosters.
gonna have to goddamn.
No, do you think
commercials.
the
They're gonna be
boosters
doing
at
commercials.
Tennessee State
it's so much
play
bigger
Herschel
boosters.
Miller? Do you think the boosters at Tennessee State play Herschel Miller?
That was because of followers. I'm saying I
That's
agree
all-
with the followers part.
That's
but
what we're talking about.
Everybody in college football, if you go to if you go to one of the power universities, power conferences,
You're gonna make
every
money.
one of them cornerbacks is gonna get a minimum of $250.
Right, you're going to make money. But again, this kid went to Tennessee State and he's making more than the quarterback at Alabama. So
Yeah, because
again,
that's because
this is what I'm
that's
trying to
because
tell
of
you.
who his daddy is.
But wait though, no, wait. This is how I tie it in, okay? If he stopped playing football, his followers would dwindle, right?
No.
Why?
No, look on social media, bro. There's people that don't play anything and they got millions of followers.
Look at Jake Paul.
They're doing something else. They have a niche. Whatever it is.
Football, their sport is the reason. The whole thing is about their likeness.
Basketball is really the one that, because of the highlights and stuff in basketball, that's the ones that usually get the followers early on in their careers and high school and stuff.
To his point, it's his following, but he has to do something. He can't just stop doing whatever it took him to get that following.
But the thing is, and I get what you're saying there. If he stops playing football, what's going to happen is the people that he signed a contract with probably won't renew his contract.
Right.
But they've already signed him to millions of dollars.
Right.
So now you stop because, again, you got to think, we're talking about 17, 18-year-old kids.
Hold on, JT. Let's put a twist to that, though, based on what you just said. All right, now, what if I'm a sponsor and I signed you to a $2 million deal, right, to wear my gear, $2 million to wear my gear, but I put another clause in there and say, listen, we don't want you playing 52 games. We don't want you playing 20, and we want you wearing our stuff at all 20. What you gonna do? That's what you're looking at, though, bruh. You're looking at the guys with the money saying, hold on, they can control you because we're writing a check.
And then
So
you got to look at
limit. I don't want you because I don't want to take a chance of you getting hurt. I want you to only play 20 games, and I'm gonna listen. Bigger than that, I'm gonna identify the 20 games you can play in.
I know where you go.
So now we betting.
Caesar Palace.
Now we betting on
Caesar
games.
Palace, exactly. Caesar Palace
Now we
pays his
betting on
athlete
games.
$5 million, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, we got a photo op for you when you playing the weekend you playing Notre Dame. Come on out for this photo op, and we'll give you an extra $1 million to come out for it. He ain't. That's.
Bruh.
I mean,
But this
to
what
me,
you-
it's going to destroy college
This
sports.
is what you're looking at, though.
I think it's going to destroy college
What
sports.
you looking at, though?
Hold on, got a question here. My man Milton Williams, he said, but when the college money runs out and they don't make it to the next level, then what do they do? The thing with that is, if they're making all this money, that's the problem with helping them make it to the next level. Because let's face it, man, these kids ain't never seen millions of dollars. Now you get it. Now, right now, most of the kids are doing it for two reasons: the love of the game, to make a bunch of money and take care of their families. Now all of a sudden they're getting the money already, so they got the money to take care of their families. So the love of the game is going to dwindle because you've already gotten the money. Because again, they're young, and it's going to change the outlook on college, and it's going to change the outlook on high school athletics too, as we see. And I think the basketball, like I said, he's the first one to do it. Guarantee there are going to be some more that's going to do it. And what I'm hoping is that they start putting stipulations in these contracts to where you have to play all the games. But I know that's not going to happen.
I think they messed up when they gave it to Mike. Like, I think if you kept it at college players, you could have kind of windowed through it.
Yeah, and that's the part that bothers me. The high school.
When they allowed him to sign in high school, I was like,
But see, they didn't keep it.
But you gotta
They
look
didn't keep
at
it at quote unquote college players. They put it at amateur athletes.
Yeah. So
And it's all about your name and your likeness.
Right.
So Mikey Williams' school is going to be able to sell Mikey Williams jerseys and make bank. Every game that he's going to be on nationally televised games.
The thing is,
and make bank.
The thing is,
you know what I'm saying?
But look, now when they sell his jerseys, they got to give him a percentage.
That's like all those football players.
Think about it. They got to give him a percentage when they sell his jerseys.
In Alabama, and the kid didn't get nothing for it.
See, the NCAA, I think you said earlier, somebody said earlier, they screwed up when they didn't bend earlier with the amateur athlete BS. There was all kinds of ways they could have made this junk work with that money in terms of bigger stipends, this and that. You know what I mean? Signing these guys to insurance policies. There's all kinds of things they could have done, but they were so bloody greedy. You know what I mean? And making all this money, and now they about to get bit in the butt.
Oh yeah.
For that greed. This junk came up years ago about the video game. Remember the dude sued about the college his likeness on the college basketball game.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
There's going to be some cheating scandals out of this, because you got to realize now that you can pay athletes and the mob and everybody else is involved in things, you pay a kid $1 million to go to Dunkin' Donuts and say, hey, you're going to represent my Dunkin' Donuts, and that kid, you pull him aside and say, the only reason I'm giving you this $1 million contract, when you play Tennessee, you're going to drop that ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's so many.
Because if they reach out to
that's way deeper.
No, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. And it's going to happen under the table to start off with, and then what's going to happen is somebody going to say something on the phone. Some friend of some college kid going to mess around and snitch. He threw that game. That's my boy, but he threw that game. It's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Let's face it, again, they're kids. You talking about, you mess with, you college basketball player, college football player, you mess with my girl, I'm going to tell her what I know. You throwing games because the sponsorship told you to do it.
But they have to put the money in until they graduate.
That's the kind of stuff I've been talking about. I've been talking about this for years. There's so many different ways you could have done this to avoid it. But it goes back, and I'm going to bring up Simone Biles again into this kind of scenario. You know what I mean? In terms of these athletes, you spoke about it earlier, the pressure. Now, how much pressure are you putting on this 16, 17, 18-year-old kid? Because now he's making this money, so his requirements, the things he has to do. I said earlier, Simone Biles came up, it was gymnastics, and some more gymnastics. Now it's gymnastics, commercial, TV show, movie show, boyfriend. Now you put this athlete in that same scenario. Now I'm making this money, but I got to make this appearance here. You was talking about how long you was on the set the other day. You know what I'm saying? Now, how you gonna take the athlete doing all this, but he still got practice?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How you gonna make practice?
At Alabama, it won't matter, but at some of the other schools, it's gonna matter.
I really, you know what I'm saying? She probably didn't want to back out. You know what I'm saying? But she was under so much pressure because, like you said, she got paid.
And she cracked it. That's all this she finally.
I think they'll blow up Milton based on what we said earlier in terms of what's around them.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
Nobody back you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I think it's like you said, it's a little bit hard.
I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all are hearing voices in the background. Those are our producers. It was just too good. They had to start talking. So. If y'all don't hear them, just ask us what they said, and we'll let you know. We're gonna put them up. We're gonna put them up here. We're gonna put them up here. Yeah, we're gonna have to start sports shows. Shoot. Yeah, it's gonna change over the next 5 years. We're gonna see a lot of changes. It's going to be interesting. I love college basketball. I like college basketball better than I do pro basketball. And the reason why I loved it more, same thing with me. I love college athletics better than I do professional athletics. The reason being was because the kids was playing for something. So now,
love of the game.
Now what happens is that's going to die.
Hold on, let me say this. I think different. What if this causes, and I think this is good, it causes those athletes to go to the G League. Those one and done players that were never going to go to college and be there for 4 years, go to the G League. And now all the players who need their development go back to college.
All that's going to do.
Why would I do that?
But no.
I give you an example. Baylor, the team from Baylor. The reason why I feel like Baylor won the championship this year is because they had a whole bunch of players and those players are actually going to be drafted good because they had a group like Donovan Mitchell, like nobody knew about.
But see, the thing is,
but notice you said one name.
But look, I know, I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying. But the thing is,
but that's the point.
But see, the thing is, all that's going to do is now the guys that, like you said, that need to develop, they're going to get the same contracts that the other guys didn't get. And again, it's going to pull from the love of the game. Now, they may not get millions of dollars because they may not have the biggest followings because they wasn't 5 stars and they didn't go to the McDonald's All-American game and all that type of stuff. But they're still going to get contracts, probably money they've never seen before.
But your endorsement deal, to your point, Dwayne, your endorsement deal is going to be much bigger if I'm playing at the University of Alabama as opposed to I'm playing in the G League.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You going to a major university. I'm giving you money for that. I'm giving you money because you're gonna be on campus. You're gonna be around all these kids. I'm not gonna give you money to go to the G League.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what? Now, what it may do, on the flip side of that, it may actually make some of these kids actually stay in college longer. Because some of them they leave
and finish.
Why not get that? Why not get that money and
It'll make them finish
because
college.
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that actually go pro early that shouldn't. But now they can actually stay and develop, But again, it gets to the point of if you start making too much money, how much do you actually develop?
If you got the right coaches, it's not going to change.
Again,
it's gonna be a challenge, man.
How do you coach Nick
Saban is
a kid that makes more money? Nick Saban, ain't nobody gonna make more money than Nick Saban. but that coach that's making $650,000 a year, Tennessee State, he got to play little Miller. He got to play him.
He got to play him. He was going to play him anyway because Master P.
He got to play him. So now the other guys on the team will be like, unless he, looking out for them,
But let him be on an endorsement deal, miss practice and miss that last shot. Boy, the team gonna be if he'd have been at practice.
Right, exactly. If he'd have been at practice,
Mr. Hollywood,
giving him all that money, and he missed. He went
drilling like $1 million.
He went 4 for 17. You giving him all that money? He went 4 for 17. Tell you, man. And you talking about a black college? What?
Then they gonna say he choked every time.
Bruh, you talking about some pressure? Man, he get back to campus. It's gonna be a problem.
It's fixed.
Yeah, we had a little interruption. Mine popped out too. Don't go nowhere, y'all. Y'all can. Yeah, they go. We back. We good to go. Popped out again. We good? Okay, good deal.
Now it's gonna be interesting, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see where college athletics go over the next 3 to 5 years. It's gonna be really, really interesting. And I mean, we haven't even talked about baseball and volleyball and golf. Oh. Man, golf, really? Bro, you think about the money that they can make, with wearing their apparel out there on the golf course now. And what happens, the schools that have the Nike deals, what happens if Adidas reaches out to them and say, I want you to wear my stuff when you're not on the court?
Now you don't have to pay.
That's a school contract though. They ain't gonna be able to violate that. And the school contract, guess who gets that money? Head
Right.
coach.
Yeah.
The head. Oh yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh yeah.
Head coach
that
determines who get that school.
Yes, sir.
What contract with the school.
Look, you ain't
It's been corrupt.
You ain't see Roy Williams with
It's been
a
corrupt.
brand new pair of Air Jordans on for every game.
Yeah, it's been.
Oh yeah,
it's been
coach
that
get
way.
that money.
Yeah, coach get that money.
Yeah. Like I said, nobody from Alabama will never make enough money getting endorsement deals than Nick Saban. Because we only know his salary from Alabama, so you can just imagine what he get from
And he's
Nike.
the exception because he's gonna be able to tell kids if the money is bigger than playing here, don't come here.
Yeah.
Because Nick has a 5-star as a first string, second string, and third string, so it ain't nothing for him.
I mean,
don't go after
now,
all players.
look, it's those type of coaches. Can you see them getting on that player's case? You know, I know you just signed this money, but I kick you off this team in a minute.
Saban will too.
yeah. Somebody like that will.
Yeah.
But he's the godfather of college football. You know what I mean? It ain't. There's only a few of those. Some of them guys are gonna be bent over backwards because they want to win. You know what I mean? University of Texas, University of Oklahoma. These guys want to beat Nick Saban so bad they're gonna deal with certain BS.
Certain things, yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah. Where your quarterback at? Where your cornerback? We talking about quarterback. You know, your safeties, your linebackers. Where they at today? They had a photo shoot. It didn't even go to practice. You know what I'm saying? And so the kid got to pick between, do I go to practice or do I go to this photo shoot? Now I'm sure they're not gonna overdo it and have them missing a whole bunch of practices. But if that comes up, kid gonna go to the photo shoot. That's his money.
Hey, we wanna make sure we gotta revisit this, man, when we get coaches in here. 'Cause I love how they're gonna coach it, man.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's ask a cop. About your other topic.
The violence increase, not only in Atlanta, because I know you're gonna say Atlanta PD. APD is one of the best ones. I know we're gonna get there, but violence in America is up, and I mean, it's really, really up. You know, I have my opinions on it. Some other people have their opinions on it. You know, mine's is, with the pandemic that happened, the uncleans, as you call them, the uncleans was sitting still, couldn't get out and do any crime. Now, once it opened up, they just got out and they did a whole bunch of crime. So in your opinion, ask a cop. But I'm asking a cop, retired cop. Y'all understand he's a retired cop, so y'all don't go out looking for him. He's retired, all right? What's yours on it? What's your opinion
You're
on that?
110% wrong. Nice thought, though. That's a nice, because it's the way you're thinking. Nah, it didn't happen like that. What happened after George Floyd, after the rulings in Baltimore, after the rulings in the city of Atlanta, and all those officers got their job back, by the way. When that happened,
Which I told everybody a year ago. Go ahead.
yeah, and when that happened, what it caused officers to do, you're never going to get officers in Atlanta while we have a current mayor to put forth the same effort as they did before, because they feel that they're on uneasy ground. Doing your job in Atlanta got officers fired on a knee-jerk reaction. They should have been relieved of duty with pay until the investigation ran out, but they were fired. The names were smeared all over America. Now we have a good chief in there now, Chief Brian, and Brian's going to try to bring around and calm everything down. But as long as Mayor Bottoms is in office, it's not going to be any change. And that's echoed around the country, because what officers saw was doing the job can get you indicted even if you do the job correctly. Now for the bad officers, like the officer that put his knee in there, he got jail time, he got what he deserved. And for any officer that uses, like the officer that kicked the lady in the head that was cuffed in Atlanta recently, he's
Stupid.
yeah, it's stupid. It made no, especially as a supervisor. You're the person that's put there to make sure the right thing happens, and you do the wrong thing. So when that happens, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth for the public. But what's happened with law enforcement, they feel as if they could lose their livelihood, not be able to pay their daughter's tuition to college, not be able to pay for private school for their kids, or whatever they're putting their money at. It could just be a young officer that wants to pay for his Hellcat. He's not going to let doing that extra caused them to lose it. And I've told this on a lot of different shows. Proactive enforcement is what stops crime. Answer 911 calls have absolutely nothing to do with deterring crime. And what's happening in Atlanta and every other city around America that has a sizable black population, I mean, a lot of it may be with racial overtones with some officers, but the vast majority of white and black officers are just saying, hey, it's too uneasy right now, because mayors around the country started looking at incidents as, we'll fire them and then we'll just to quell what's going on right now. In cases where officers were not at fault, officers were getting relieved of duty. Well, that's just like anybody else. If somebody came in and said, you're not going to get paid, or you're not going to get paid for doing whatever your job is, and you were just doing your job, is what caused that. No due process, no nothing. People took a step back and said, hands off. You know, they said hands up, also said hands off. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I still talk to a lot of young officers on the Atlanta Police Department and some veteran supervisors, and they're saying that's the issue right now. They don't believe they have the support of the mayor's office. It doesn't matter if you have support of a chief's office. You saw that with the, the chief that left. Chief Shields generally back police officers, like Chief Bryant's backing police officers. But at the end of the day, the person that has the final say is the mayor, and it was the mayor's call that got those officers fired. So when you have situations like that, that's what causes the uncleans or the infected, choose your tone, whatever you want to call them. That causes them to do what they've always been doing, but now, I should have explained it. 911 calls is what officers are doing. They're always going to do that because that's a dispatch call. But what you can't do as a supervisor, mayor, chief of police, or anything else is make somebody see something. So when an officer's going along and you see 3 kids on the corner, and you may know those 3 kids, and one of them's pockets dipping a little bit, like he may have a gun in his pocket, where before you might stop and do an investigative stop, FIF them and do some other things. Now you putting your blinders on like old mule in the field and keep on going straight, because it's not worth getting fired or relieved of duty, because you got to realize officers on average make between $55 and $60 in Atlanta now on side jobs. Are you going to get suspended where you can't even make your, even if you're suspended with pay, you can't work your side job? So you got officers that are literally lose $1,000 a month by making one arrest. And it's not something they had to do. Proactive policing is what an officer does on his own, and that's what changes the flow of crime in the city.
So to be clear, you're saying that the rise in crime across the country is due to police officers no longer proactively policing the streets. Is that my understanding? Most
definitely. There's a 2020 special and a 60-minute special dealing with Chicago PD years ago. It happened in Chicago when they had a couple riots, and they hung some officers out to dry, a couple of them deservedly so. But when that happens, police officers circle the wagon, the thin blue line, and they say, hey, we got to protect our own. When we're not getting protected, it's different when an officer, like that officer that kicked that cuffed lady in the face. There's no way to justify that. No way he's going to be able to say, even if she spit on him, well, you should have been out of position, but she's cuffed. And then anybody that's in law enforcement will tell you, once the cuffs go on, it's over. Now, all these officers see that, and they may love the sergeant. I don't know who it was. They haven't announced yet, and I haven't looked into it. But I know he's regretting what he did. But they have to send a message, because you can't get on that officer for doing it when you let a supervisor go with it. And what do you think his punishment should be? The supervisor would kick that. What do you think? I'm asking you, what do you think the punishment should be for that officer? That supervisor.
He asking you. He asking a cop.
I'll be honest. I'd have to look at his service record book and see whatever violations he's had with OPS. But I think that's a minimum that's going to go to the max, 30 days. If he's got a clean record and it was just a mistake, and you got to look at
Did you say mistake?
Well, he intentionally did it.
Right. Wait. Did
When
you
he
say
made
That foot didn't
he
mistake
made
the
a
kicker.
bad judgment. What I
Okay.
would do
Okay.
is demote him because I don't think he needs to be supervised anymore. Demote him and 30-day suspension. Termination, it depends on what he's done in the past. Because obviously, people make mistakes. But in law enforcement now, when a microscope's on you, you can't afford to make that mistake. But moreover, I would be more forgiving of an officer if an officer did it. But the person is put there to make sure it doesn't happen. You can't do that. So minimum, I think what I would recommend if he's got a clean record, I would go 30 days in demotion from sergeant. And he's not working right now, so with the money he probably made on side jobs, you're talking about it'll be 6 months before that man gets paid again. So that, and I think that would be fair.
So if he had a clean record and this happened, bad judgment, let's go back to the stress thing. Let's go back to the stress thing. Do you think that, again, let's say if he had a clean record, this is out of character, this is something that he doesn't do. And he did it. Do you think he could fall back on a mental health issue?
It's certain jobs, I think, that may be where he could get disability potentially. But I think law enforcement is probably the most powerful job in the nation because it's the only job where you decide life and death and you can take somebody's freedom, maybe even temporarily, or how you gather the evidence and what you do decides whether somebody goes home in a body bag, goes home in their own car, or gets put in the back of a paddy wagon. And that's a lot of pressure. And a lot of officers can't take it. I'll tell you, being in a supervisor position with Atlanta, I saw a lot of officers leave because it wasn't something that they enjoyed. And they would say, the pressure's not for me, LT, or SARS. This ain't for me. And I always respected them for bowing out. And I think some people stick around for the extra job money. And I think that there's going to have to be a lot of reform in law enforcement because you can't expect people to police the uncleans and the derelicts of America and expect there not to be mistakes made. Now, when there's malice involved, of course, prosecute with the worst intent. But there's a big difference between malice and somebody making a judgment call and the judgment doesn't quite go right, like the shooting in Chicago where the young lady got killed. That was a good shoot all the way. But the backlash and public backlash from that, everybody's like, oh, well, no, it was a good shoot. But when you have that backlash and everybody's being tried and everybody in law enforcement is seeing that person do exactly what he's trained to do, and he's seeing him getting suspended or can't take care of his family, where we got to pass the hat, that's something we do in law enforcement. Everybody puts money in a hat for the officer to help him through that troubled time. And it's a family. That's the thin blue line is not always a negative. And I think when you see that and the officers are circling wagons and the only people that are being affected by it are the very people that everybody claims they want to help. And that's the poor community, African American, Latino, or white. And those are the very people that are suffering because everybody at this panel is going back to their plush house and plush life. But the people in the hood, if think about it now, the only reason you hear about it now is that the Indians are off the reservation. When it was first happening, and it was happening in 1, 4, and 3, and the bad part of 6, nobody said anything. But when it went to Lenox Mall, Phipps Plaza, and those areas, in broad daylight, that's when the uproar came. That's when the people in Buckhead say, oh, whoa, wait a minute now. Y'all killing people up here. And people know that if Buckhead backs out, they're losing 46% of the city will lose 46% of their bottom line. The city wouldn't be able to provide the same services. So who's going to suffer? You think they're going to let downtown Atlanta fall? Or is they're going to have to pull back on services to the poor communities?
The percentage, I know you said that the proactive policing. What percentage do you feel, and just your opinion, what percentage, because I know it can't be 100%, but what percentage do you feel of police officers have taken that stance and pulled back in regards to that? Just give a number that you think.
I'd say when you take the specialty units like Apex and CSU units out of it, and you talk to the regular beat officer, all you have to do is pull stats.
Well, I'm talking about the regular cats that we see every day.
75%.
75%? Yeah. Wow.
That's look at the drug arrests, look at tickets, look at city ordinance arrests, which would be your drunken disorderly, DC fighting, all the DC charges, disorderly charges, which is more of a fine. Look at the number of possession of marijuana arrests that aren't happening now. That's public record. And I think that nobody's speaking on it because that would mean Mayor Bottoms would have to admit she fumbled the ball. She jumped the gun. She could have had the same effect if she would have suspended those officers with pay or put them on paid leave until the investigation came out.
In regards to the marijuana arrests, do you feel that some officers are just not arresting people for weed because it's damn near legal everywhere? Or they feel like this is a good time drug?
No, because
it ain't a drug that's hurting nobody?
Once again, that's the black 10%, white liberals, in middle class, a lot of people smoke. But you're writing a check that poor people's ass has to cash. Because see what's happening, most of the violence that happens in zone 1 and zone 4 is due to the illicit drug trade. People that have the money are getting robbed by the people that don't have the money, and the people that want the drugs are breaking into people's houses that stay there, robbing people and stealing from people that are curving.
Wait, so you think somebody's breaking into somebody's house to buy a dime bag of weed?
No, it's not just weed. You're talking about
that's what I'm just talking. I'm talking about marijuana. I'm just talking about marijuana.
No, but all of it's together. That's all wrapped into one.
But I mean, earlier you just said, possession of marijuana. That's what you specifically
possession of marijuana,
said
because what happens with possession of marijuana, when the mayor decided to lower the weight of, make it basically a ticket in Atlanta, what all the dope boys did, instead of sitting there with 50 bags of weed, they all got a little portable scale and had an ounce bag where they could say that's for my personal use, and they'll take the weight dope and put it on the scale and then sell it to the person. So it's still possession with intent, but it's harder to get that possession with intent charge when they can say, oh, it's just for my personal use. That's why you got a lot more possession charges. Officers aren't out there going after the AU Center kids that's smoking weed in the park. What they're going after is the people that are hanging around the stores that have guns sitting in their car, that are selling drugs. And when they catch them with an ounce, it's only an ounce, but that person been selling it. He's got an ounce of weed, but got 3,000-4,000 in his pocket and don't have a job.
So let me just ask this question.
In the bluff.
So your stance is the crime that's going on, let's just say right now in the city of Atlanta, because these kids right now are shooting like it's going out of style. I mean, you got the water boys getting shot and shooting. You got multiple road rage incidents. There are quite a few incidents that are occurring, whether the police were all hands-on or not. I mean, is that not accurate?
Well, what's happening with that, now that's the largest thing. When you look at that, that's because I think it's been 10 million more guns sold this year than any other year. Everybody and their mama in America has a gun.
But these Joes who doing all this shooting, those guns being bought over the counter.
But what I'm saying is a lot of a road rage shooting are normal citizens that now they have the means to carry out something in their anger. Now, when you're talking about the shootings that are occurring in black areas, it's just because before, when there was 10 brothers on the corner and you know that's a drug trap, as an officer, you pull up and, I can't say that. We were about to say tag you it. But you go up there and just, hey, fellas, could you move on, please?
Yeah, I'm sure that's how you said it.
And so when you tell them, come on, fellas, move on, please, they'd move on. And now you have officers that are less likely to engage, because you know when you engage these kids, they're going to run, they're going to fight, or you're going to get yourself in an incident. Whereas if you just go ahead and answer that 29 disturbance or domestic disturbance call and bypass those 10 people on the corner, you ain't got to deal with it. Now, later on, when that shooting occurs that night, you could have stopped it, But now everybody in Atlanta is comfortable carrying guns because they're not getting stopped. And anybody that wants to refute that on the Atlanta Police Department, all you have to do is pull up FIF stops prior to the riots. And FIF stops a field investigative stop prior to and then afterwards. I mean, Chief Bryant's a great chief. I think he's the right one to pull morale back up. But morale was crushed when they basically railroaded those officers and without any kind of hearing or anything, just fired them or put them on paid leave. And that was, it was wrong the way they did. They handled it wrong. And that's why those officers got their jobs back.
So then you're saying that the rise in crime is more so within the last year and a half?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right.
Violent crime increases.
I don't disagree with what you said. I think what you said is fairly accurate in terms of, proactive policing, and I guess the other side of that proactive policing is, like you said, when you're going over that corner and saying so very nicely, hey guys, could you please move on?
Come on, please.
Because that's exactly how it's said, right?
Could you go home right now? Thank you.
I'm sure the thought process is, if this escalates, is it worth my job?
Exactly.
Because 9 out of 10 is going to escalate. And then you have to worry about all the camera phones coming on, and no matter what kind of record, little Johnny had, he was a good kid, and he didn't deserve.
When Pookie get shot, people got a problem.
Hey, man.
He was a good kid.
Little Johnny only did that because, he drunk a Mountain Dew that day. He wasn't a criminal.
Nobody wants to ask why he had that stolen gun.
But now,
Right.
I told you, because he bought a Mountain Dew, he was hyped up, and he bought a gun from somebody down at the car wash. That's what.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, but
okay, so now that you said that, and I know you said Atlanta got a new chief, but how do you fix it if the police, the normal beat cops is what I'm talking about, the cats riding around in the cars, whatever, not the special units and all that, just the beat cops. We're gonna speak. I know you're gonna, because you're firsthand with Atlanta. But how do you think that's fixed, not only in Atlanta, but across the nation? How do police chiefs or mayors get the trust of the police officers again to where they can actually start proactive policing again?
I think what it needs to be is transparency, and 100% transparency. You shouldn't have to wait to get a body cam. I think if they allow body cams to be released and let people see what actually happened, the whole 25 minutes instead of one little excerpt the news wants to use, or individuals want to put half a tape up and not show everything that transpired. When officers are wrong, they're wrong. But the vast majority of times, the millions and millions of stops that happen are legit, and they're carried out correctly. So I think what's going to happen is when you're going to have maybe a national police council. Biden could do something since he's in office, positive. And if he does that and has, every officer in America by July 2022 has to have 30-hour block of sensitivity training. You have to have use of force, make it make what's okay and what's not okay, put it across the board. So you won't have states like Minnesota and several other states that had to repeal those laws that were still allowing those chokeholds. That was a legal move. And so that kind of thing, you have to revise law enforcement. The states that are staying in the 60s and 70s have to be brought into the 2021.
But MJ, let me ask you this question though, and let's be realistic here. I think our society, in particular, the anti-police society, has gotten to the point where I don't care if you release the entire 30 minutes of that body cam. I saw an interview the other day, and I was shaking my head. It was on the news. I don't remember what the arrest was, but the kid was, fighting the police, and a whole bunch of stuff happened. where it was clear that the person was wrong. And the people being interviewed said, yeah, he was doing this, but the police didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But everything the dude was doing was dead wrong. But everybody who got interviewed said, well, yeah, I mean, he was doing X, Y, Z, but they didn't have to do that. It's our society, bruh. They are so anti-police right now that it doesn't matter if they see everything wrong. They're gonna still say the police didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? You could literally be, straight up bucking the entire time, not the police officer out, and they're gonna say, well, I mean, I was blown away. I wish I could remember that incident. I was just blown away. I was listening to him, I was watching, in my basement, and I was stopped everything. I was like, what? You know what I mean? It was like our society they're so anti-police right now. It's like, I don't know if watching the whole body cam even matters.
I don't think the whole society's, but like going back to what you said, social media. Mm-hmm. And now, when Pookie and, whoever gets 1,000 views or 30, 40, 50,000 views when he cusses out a police officer on a normal traffic stop and everybody passes it around, everybody out of that tax bracket. And the unclean started, but I think the people who perpetuate it are the black 10%. And the black middle class. They want to push it, and it's almost like they feel bad about being successful, so we're going to take up every cause of the unclean. No matter how corrupt what he did is, we still going to back that unclean. And I think that what it does, it makes it easier for white racists to slide by. They look, they're not even, they don't even care about if they kill each other, and make all these excuses. But the excuse starts with the black 10% and the black middle class that co-sign on it just because they're black. They don't look at the facts. Just because he's black, well, because in the 60s they sick dogs on us, so we should just back each other blindly now. No, it doesn't, because the only people it affects, because I did community meetings all through Zone 1. And these are black community meetings. And all the citizens are saying, when can we skip more patrols? Can we get more of this, more of this? Those are the tax-paying citizens. Those are African-American citizens, not the uncleans or the infected. It's African-American citizens that are being victimized by Pookie and the rest of them on the corner slinging dope.
I got two things for you. Let me ask you this, young lady, Deanna Phillips. She basically said that the economy controls crime. How do you feel about that?
Okay, and I'll just say this. We're talking about, this is a black show. We're talking about African-American crime. Yeah. Okay, now, if you want to put in totality, yes. For the violence to change in the black community right now, they're going to have to put more of an effort into making jobs for the underprivileged youth. And clean up the educational systems, which we talked about before. I won't get on that soapbox, but it's all tied in together. Because in the inner city, there's not a value placed on education. So when the schools are failing and the kids can't get jobs, what do you expect them to do? The violence that's occurring, because it's glorified in rap music, it's glorified on TV, it's glorified in games, and the only time they had an issue with it in Atlanta was when they started getting off the reservation and going into Buckhead or downtown. That's when the issue started coming in. Before then, the violence was already on the increase. I think it's 70-some% increase in ag assault and 6-8% increase in homicides. That's astronomical.
Going back to the body cams, you said that the body cams, total transparency. When things do happen, all the videos go out, people with cell phones. Why does it always take so long for the body cam to come out from the governing authority, police department, whatever city it's in? Do you think if everybody is wearing a police cam and you're doing what you're supposed to do, don't get me wrong, I think Atlanta jumped the gun on a couple of things that they did. I don't live in Atlanta, but that Howard guy, I feel that he's still trying to recoup what happened when Ray Lewis got into that trouble here, and I think they let the real murderer walk away, but I still think he's trying to recoup that. So that's why I think they jumped the gun, and Angelo said it. We said it on the show. When they came out talking about first-degree murder, he was like, man, this dude is going to get off, period. I think they jumped the gun. But there's been other incidents, not only in Atlanta, but all over when stuff happened, the body cam takes forever to come out. Why is that?
I work with body cam. It takes about 5 seconds to print the body cam out. What happens is police departments, and like I know Chief Bryant personally, and Chief Bryant's a great guy. He's a great cop. And if it was up to Bryant, a lot of stuff would be released. But what's happened now, you don't have a Chief Bell that said, basically, this is my department, I'm gonna run it. Now, the mayors are meddling so much in the decision-making process. They want the DA's office. They want to see if the DA's office is cool with it. What's going to be they're trying to do damage control on everything, and that's what's causing officers to hold up. Whoa, wait a minute. We got 2.3. Think about it. Officers got 2.3 seconds to make a decision, but the mayor's office and the DA's office takes weeks to make a decision on the same thing. And it's not the officers. The officers.
Yeah, I don't believe it is.
The blunt of it, but the people that need to be held accountable is the mayor's office and the DA's office. And because I think, well, I can just speak for Chief Bryant. Chief Bryant would be putting it out there. That's the type of guy he is. And so he would put it out there and explain it. He'd sit up there and explain, we whooped his ass because of this, or this also was wrong. He's going to be straightforward. But I think when everything has to be run through the mayor's office first, and well, let's see.
The PR department.
Yeah, PR department is, what is the DA, what is the public going to say about it? I think it was a backlash where the tail started wagging the dog. And that's what happened in Atlanta, and it happened all around across the country.
Well, let me tell you, them body cams, man, I just feel if it came out quick, it would change things.
I think it has a lot to do with it because she was unelectable.
Yeah,
She's pissed off Buckhead. She's pissed off.
She pissed off the folk with the money.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
She pissed off Atlanta business people, and she knew that. She wasn't going to get the support she needed.
Yeah.
But again, I agree with a lot of that he said in terms of what's one of the reasons causing this, and but I also feel, and this is me, I feel a lot of it has also to do with, similar to the question you had about the economics of the communities, of the unclean communities, and I said this before, I think you have situations where, we watched $500 billion go to China because they were accused of something that they created and actually accused of it, and all of a sudden they get all this money. And I said it on the show, JT, about just imagine if you had $500 billion going to the black communities. You know what I mean? Where in the city of Atlanta?
You better pick the ones you give it to.
But where in the city of Atlanta can kids go outside to a basketball court and feel safe? What parks are open that outside of Piedmont Park, where it's safe, it's a safe environment? Where can you go in Atlanta where basketball goals have nets on them? You just had a situation where all the swimming pools in Atlanta are closed because they can't get police coverage because nobody wants to work it. They closed all the pools in Atlanta due to violence. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, with being a police officer in Atlanta, would you want to work with juveniles? And if you look at one of them wrong, or they fight like adults, but you can't do anything to them. If you do, you're automatically suspended. So now you're not working extra jobs. You can't pay for your family. You can't take care of your family. Nobody's going to do it. So why subject yourself to that type of scrutiny? Because we've created a monster in the black community that we're going to have to deal with at some point, and that's the unclean. Because when you said they need to put money into the unclean neighborhoods, no, they need to put money into the African American neighborhoods. The uncleans are what uncleans if they had $1 million out there. Those are the people that have decided to step away from African American society, and they want to commit crimes. And
Yeah, but what about all the kids in that neighborhood who
that's what I'm worried about.
Who not
kids.
involved in that.
And that's what I think
they don't have they have nowhere to go. They have no. I mean,
Obama didn't do it.
All the pools closed.
Trump didn't do it. Obama didn't
sad.
do it. And Biden's not talking about doing it. And two, they make it so if you're going to allow a business to come in, it should be just like an empowerment zone. They should say, okay, if you open a new business in Atlanta, 50% of your staff has to be residents. Because if you look at any of the stores that operate inside black areas, it's all Pakistani or all Indian or all Korean or whatever. And I'm not saying don't hire your people, but when you don't hire a single person from the neighborhood, and then you have all this big business that comes to Atlanta, but nobody hires Atlanta kids.
I don't think they should be allowed to buy or to work that area, because I think that's part of the problem. I think that part of the problem is, like I said, they allow to come in and get the money, but they don't take care of their community.
Well, I think that's one thing is black leaders and a lot of black leaders, they'll jump on the bandwagon and talk about any type of alleged police brutality, either real or imagined, but they won't get on. Hell, you got the gas stations, these stores are making $1 million plus a year, and they don't even sponsor the youth football teams in that area. And those things, but see, as a people, we don't call them out. We don't call them out on it. And so if we start doing that, it'll bring about change. But we also need to ask Mayor Bottoms, why are Atlanta public schools underachieving? Underachieving because Buckhead's not worried about that. They're going to be worried 100% about police, and that's going to be the main thing in this mayoral race is going to be getting more officers. What are you going to do to stop crime? Boom, boom, boom. And they're going to come up with all these clever ideas. But in two, they put it where kids that grow up in the Bluff and Southwest Atlanta off, H.E. Holmes and areas like that and James Jackson Parkway, if there's no jobs available for those kids, when you go to a McDonald's in those areas, the people that are working those McDonald's are in their 20s and have kids or older. You get people in their 40s and 50s working there. And the only one that's got young kids working there, and they got some old ones, is a Chick-fil-A on Martin Luther King. And that owner puts back into the community. But there's so many people that don't have an opportunity, and now they get arrested. But it's not all the kids. It's like I said, any zone can give you a list of 10 to 12 kids. If they could just make them disappear, lock them up instantly, crime would probably drop 30, 40%. It's the same people, the repeat offenders. That's why they got repeat offender squads. But the numbers are so low now because so many people left the department and so many people are getting out of law enforcement that they can't even fill cars. Staffing levels are, basically it's unsafe for officers in some zones, some nights, because they're not putting enough patrol cars on the street. And that's not Chief Bryant's fault. The city is the highest paid now. Mayor Bottoms did do that, but when you take that support away, you're not gonna have people taking jump shots when they know they're gonna be criticized by the people that's supposed to be backing them. You called the play, I took the shot, now you're gonna criticize me. And it's not working.
So then proactive policing would mean going back to, the FIFs, which is Field Investigative Forum, and this the shaking things up. You're saying that's what it's going to take?
Of course. I mean, people don't want to.
Now, is that realistically a potential is going to happen though?
It's going to have to happen at some point. Crime's going to get to the point. I think it's that point now where people are frustrated with it. And what's going to happen is there's going to have to be a lot of training involved. But we got body cams now. And see, that's what people ain't looking at. They look at that one, like that officer that kicked the lady in the head. They look at that, but they're not probably looking at the other 200, 300, 400 arrests that happened that same day where there wasn't any excessive force used. And that's not to say it's okay. I'm just saying that.
And that's the media, I feel. Yeah. I feel a lot of that has to do with them. The media will only put out an arrest that where there was some issues. instead of, if there was an arrest, it was some crime going on, but the arrest went as it was supposed to go, the media won't put that out. So I get you on that. But the thing is with these body cams, man, I just feel that, I know you say that people might get suspended, but if you're getting suspended because a kid tried to fight you and you had to arrest him or whatever and you get suspended, are you suspended with pay?
It depends on the chief and what our ruling comes down. They may say
It
yes.
depends on which media outlet it was on, how much it got blown up. That's what it depends on.
If it gets
And see, the thing
That's
is,
the reality of it.
if the media is only going to put out what somebody that recorded it with their cell phone sent to them. If you put the body cam footage out, I just feel that if you put the body cam footage out, you would get the trust of the officers, because now we're putting this out to show that I did what I was supposed to do, and you're going to come out and say that I did what I was supposed to do, supposed to have done. Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying to you, JT, is I watched the interview where they saw it. Witnesses saw what this one particular dude was doing, and everything he did was wrong. But they still defended the neighborhood. Still defended it.
The neighborhood is.
It's not the neighborhood. It's the uncleans in the black neighborhood.
They're still part of the neighborhood.
No, they're not. They destroyed the neighborhood. They destroyed
neighborhoods. Still have uncleans.
My point is,
we've all, like you said, we all going back to our nice houses, but there's some uncleans in our neighborhoods. Promise you.
Okay, but my point is, I'll just use an example. If you go down Ashby and Simpson in the Bluff area, I was in charge of this crime suppression unit over there. The vast majority of people we arrested that were actually controlling stuff didn't even live in the neighborhood. They came in to wreak havoc. The people that belong in the neighborhood, like I said on several shows, if you go by, now COVID's out, but pre-COVID, if you mess around, one of my officers going to get to day watch, or if officer tried to go down day watch at 6 o'clock for a 6:30 roll call, he was late, because he's going to get caught by school buses picking up kids, and it might be 3 buses pulling up in one apartment complex, and literally hundreds of kids. And that's all over Zone 1. Now, if you go out on a Saturday in Zone 1 with a camera, unless a kid's going into a store, you're not going to see kids. And that's because the uncleans have been allowed to take the streets.
But see, that's not only in Zone 1.
Well, that's every zone, I'm just saying.
About to say, that's in Mapleton also. And no kids go outside nowhere, period. It's not only Zone 1. They don't go outside.
So you're saying proactive policing would be somebody in the neighborhood telling the drug dealer or telling on the drug dealer?
No, proactive policing is like if it's 12:30 at night and the 5 of us are on the corner, it would take 2 officers pulling up and inquiring as to what we're doing on that, because you can pull up crime stats and arrests in certain areas. And if there's been 5 shootings, 59 people arrested in the last year on that same block for selling drugs, don't you think the police should probably ask those people what they're doing out there? Does that give them the right to search them? No. But for their own safety, they can pat them down for weapons. People aren't getting patted down for weapons, so perpetrators are comfortable carrying guns because they know they're not going to get stopped.
Now, that's a great point. Because that's a lot of what's happening is they're carrying. Now, let me ask this question. Do you think and JT brought up at the beginning of this conversation about, the pandemic and all these things, and I brought up last week how, like, juvenile detention won't do an intake on kids right now. And they would, for a long time, I don't know if they started to do it yet, but unless the kid committed murder, they wouldn't even take them in.
That's been the last 5 or 6 years. It's a point system, longer than that actually.
But a lot of these kids are ones who commit these crimes.
Yes, but see, juveniles are not big enough. They don't have a space. It's a point system. If a kid doesn't reach the threshold on points, it doesn't matter if they could have caught him red-handed breaking into your car, breaking into your home. If he doesn't have the proper points, they're going to release him to his parent or guardian. Now, when you do that, I've seen too many times officer will literally be out the whole shift and into the next shift, waiting to find Pookie's parents. Right. And it's because the uncleans got the worst parents.
Stop calling the man Pookie. All uncleans. They got regular names. There's a unclean James out there, and there's an unclean Angelo. And
no, it's not.
I work
I disagree.
Dude, I work fugitive. I've
never arrested Angelo.
And I can tell you some names, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want people to get mad. There's some names that are synonymous with assault and murder.
I get it, but all Pookies ain't bad. Sorry, Pookies. Any Pookies that's looking at this, hey.
No, but I'm just saying that it's
hey, man, what's your name? Pookie? Oh, put your hands on the wall.
Could you please stay off the corner?
Well, this is definitely an ongoing problem, man. And I do believe what you said has a lot of truth to do with it. And I mean, I think it's a little bigger in terms of the community. But proactive policing, I would imagine, would definitely help. And it's scary to know that, you said about 70% have pulled back. That's a large number. I mean, if you're talking about city to city, state to state, and that's what everybody's doing.
In Atlanta, but
that's huge.
It's I got a cousin that polices in Chicago, and it
explains a lot.
The same thing.
I mean, the valid reasons, but again, if you did what was right, and I get it, here in Atlanta and probably some other places too, but we know for a fact in Atlanta they jumped the gun. But if you're doing what's right, and you signed up, you got to do the job.
No, they're doing the job. The job is to
answering 911 calls.
Answer the 911
That's what they're doing.
Answer 911 calls.
They're not being proactive.
Police is what I'm saying. You can't make somebody see something, and when an officer sees it, it's like that bell's going to go off with him. That's why I like being in CSU. You had aggressive officers.
So we're going to revisit this because right now doing the job is answering 911 calls. So we might be in trouble, people.
That's always been the job.
We might not get into more proactive
people
policing.
in units. You know what I mean? Like Unit MJ and I used to be on. I mean, we went out there. Looking for trouble. Hey, search and destroy.
Dope, robbing people. You look like you want to rob.
We're going to close it off on search and destroy. We're going to get on up out of here for that ring.
Hey, but listen, before we close out, I got something I want to do real quick, man. And I'm gonna come up with some of these during the course of these shows. So, real quick, JT, I start with you. Top 5 rappers of all time.
In no certain order. Biggie, Ice, Cube.
About to say which one. All right.
Jay-Z. Blah, 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 blah. Most Def. And this is going to get on a lot of people's nerves. Eminem.
Wow. Not even my boy. What you got, Mike?
All right, I got Biggie, Egg B. Rakim, Jay-Z. I go with I kind of like the Two Live Crew. I got my favorite. I got my favorite.
You can say it out loud.
No, but I got to put Tupac in. I got to put Tupac in there, and I like Kool Moe Dee.
Wow. Never guessed that.
Whoa.
Will, who you got, man? Top 5.
I'm talking about who I listen to.
Tupac. I like Nas.
Yeah, Nas.
That's 4 right there.
I like Kendrick Lamar.
Really?
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He would be in my top 10.
Who you got, D?
Youngster, who you got?
Easy.
He said Jay-Z, Tupac. Go ahead.
Ty Cruz, this rapper.
Rapper.
I got to think of Kanye West.
Wow.
He said Kanye. Go ahead.
Greatest rapper of all time.
You got 2 more.
Drake.
He's new school now. I can't remember. He's
Drake.
young.
I'm old, but I'm a little young. I gotta go. You talking about?
You got
Drake.
you got one more. Yeah.
I listen to, and the last person I would say, I can't really call.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Outkast because I feel like
Yeah.
Outkast as a,
That's good.
Which one? Which one? Outkast.
Which one?
I think they're both as talented.
Nah, I said yeah, that's individual.
Talented than another. I think B-Boy is focusing on this much as Drake. I do.
So he got 5 and 5A, 5A, 5B.
Yeah.
Because I had to put them as a group.
He said Outkast, Big Boy, and Dre.
Yeah, they have a lot of music together. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I got Tupac.
Y'all know Biggie's not. He only got 2 albums. Biggie's not in my top 5 greatest all time. He's not. He only has 2 albums.
And that's a fair argument.
Yeah, that's a fair argument, but
It's a fair argument.
mine. Still in mine.
But Kanye over Biggie, yeah.
Like 9 albums to choose from.
I got Tupac. I got LL Cool J. That's my guy. I got KRS-One.
Yeah, that was my next one.
KRS-One. I got Rakim. Lyrically, I don't think nobody could touch Rakim. Lyrically. And my last one is gonna be Cube. I got Biggie on the outside looking in because of that argument of two albums, but that's my 5.
I think.
Who,
I think
for Biggie?
I think.
I don't want to say everything. I think
his second album didn't come too hard, but I think if Biggie had more time, R.I.P. I think he would have really cemented his space. You know what I'm saying?
I'm an old school guy, so I'm all about the lyrics. What is it that you're saying?
Period.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
What are you
why
saying?
I'm
And
telling
you can hear everything. You don't have to. What do you say? There's no interpretation.
When Eminem was with Dre, just listen to the words.
Eminem was a bad boy.
Listen to the words.
No question about
His
it.
wordplay was sick.
But KRS-One, man, come
Hey
on.
man, KRS-One is one of the most. I can't believe they hadn't done an unsung on him because, everything that KRS they have, I'm gonna have to look for because everything KRS did was up under the radar because he basically, he didn't release with the big labels. But man, you listen to KRS-One.
He was a teacher, like he said. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You said Rakim. Only thing I think of is Summertime. Rakim? He wrote the song.
Yeah, he wrote the song.
Yeah, he wrote the song. Yeah, he wrote the song. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now listen to it now after you know he wrote it. And you listen to Will Smith, you're going to be like, oh my fucking.
Rakim was a bad boy.
Hey, could come out right now with an album
Right
and
now.
beat everybody up.
Right
For
now.
real. That's why he's selling out all the concerts that he do.
He did a mix with DMX.
Yeah.
Hey man, you said something there. DMX, now that he's gone, you listening to a lot of people do a lot of tributes, and you listen to the words, you be like, God, I can't even believe yeah, serious wordplay. But my number one all time is Jiggle
think?
right now.
Man, that rap junk now is garbage, man. It's literally all about, as long as the beat hitting,
Hey,
the
man.
rap song is popular. It has nothing to do with the lyrics.
All them babies,
Nothing
if
to do
you
with the
combine
lyrics.
all the babies as one, they might get up into the top 20. Dub Baby, Lil Baby, Ma Baby, all of them. So yeah,
Next week, female rappers: Megan Thee Stallion, Megan Thee Stallion, Megan Thee Stallion, Megan Thee Stallion.
not the one that not the one that you're looking at, not the best looking rapper.
Why you jiving? If we went down to number 7, my number 7 was MC Light. Not Megan Thee Stallion. MC Light. MC Light. I could listen to MC Light when I was in college. I used to drive to Virginia.
And I'm gonna tell you,
And I could put on MC Light and ride the entire ride.
and I'm gonna tell you somebody else that because of all the other stuff she's done, she's losing the respect in the hip hop game. But if you go back and listen to her, Queen Latifah was serious.
Oh, the Queen was bad.
She was serious, bro. She
Yeah,
was
that lifetime
serious.
achievement type thing. Yeah.
I told them somebody, my girl the other day, she was like, Nicki Minaj and B-Dubs came out and said, no, she wouldn't.
No.
Nah.
No.
But Lil Kim had the benefit of some very
good writers.
That was some writers
very
that
good
were
writers.
monsters. Yeah.
Very good writers, and we paid attention to because of what she wore.
But let me say that she backed it up on all those records. She held her own, regardless if somebody wrote it or not. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Drake. Drake ain't write all the lyrics, but
Drake is bad. Drake is bad. It's just hard for me to. Drake was on Nickelodeon. It's just hard for me. I can't get past that, man. I cannot get past that Drake was on Nickelodeon, and every time I look at Drake, I see the Nickelodeon thing, and I'm like, I just can't give it to him. How you hip hop and you was on Nickelodeon? It's just rough on me. Yeah, that's rough on me. So,
all right.
So yeah, we're gonna do that at the end of each show. We're gonna top something.
Top 5,
top actors, top something. We're gonna do something each time. And so we'll start asking about that during the week and get other people to give us their top 5.
Yeah, sounds
so
good.
That's gonna do it. Ask a cop. Go on, say your parting words, brother.
If you're involved in an incident with law enforcement and you feel that you've been wrong on the scene, you have a right to call for a supervisor. Ask for a supervisor. Live to fight another day. You see all these people clowning and acting a fool, but you notice one thing you notice on the internet, those people aren't getting shot. The officers are doing the right thing. But if you have a belief that officers are violent, then why would you kind of egg the situation on? File a complaint. There's nobody here to ask tonight, but I'm batting 1,000 with people, guests that come on the show that'll talk about the heinous things that have happened with law enforcement, and I ask all of them, did you file a complaint? And to the T, I have a 100% batting rate. They didn't file a complaint. Call a supervisor, make a formal complaint, because if you don't file a complaint and you were legitimately wrong, that also, no, he probably won't lose his job unless it's something major, but he'll be censured for it, and there'll be a record of it. So the next time he does the same thing, because one thing, being in law enforcement 30 years, bad officers tend to repeat themselves. And somebody could have stopped it early on and didn't. I know a couple officers that ended up in jail, Pac-Man, and he did things early in his career he probably should have been terminated for. Heinous things. Wasn't terminated, and he was in Operation Dirty 3. And he was one of the ringleaders in it. So a lot of things happen, but if it happens, especially with the Atlanta Police Department, I had to get that endorsement, call the OPS number. They are not gonna not accept a complaint. Good officers know if you work, people gonna complain. They'll do a thorough investigation. You'll be notified of the outcome of it. But make the complaint, call for a supervisor, and don't do frivolous complaints. Well, just because you were speeding and you get mad like a lot of the sisters that get on in there and want to play it back and everything else. Because the thing happens when you cry wolf, when somebody really was wrong, and you got an OPS investigator that's got 29 files on there because everybody that ran a red light wants to say they also did it because they were racist, and they file a frivolous complaint, that also has to investigate every single complaint the same way he does when the officer kicked the lady in the head today, that sergeant. That's the one he should be focusing on, not because you got an issue that you did something stupid and you think if you file a complaint, you're going to get out of it. Officer's job is not to kiss your ass. It's to protect and serve.
My mom said, what about Snoop Dogg? Snoop Dogg would be top. I think he might make top 10, but he would make my top 5. His beats by Dre were just monstrous.
It might be my top 15.
Yeah.
That first album is still a classic.
Classic, but them beats by Dre were ridiculous.
Dog style.
Yeah, no doubt.
Boy.
No doubt. What you know about Snoop Dogg, mama? Hey, man, my closing remarks are, per Anita, because I always hit in her head, vote, and vote. If you ain't registered, shame on you, get registered to vote. It's almost that time again.
My closer, I was going to go with the vote thing too, man, because as we were sitting there talking about getting the right people, it's not the officers, it's not the police chief, and whatever city you in, it's above them. So you got to get those people in place. So again, as Angela always states, you got to vote, and we ain't just talking about for the president. You got to vote, you got to research these people and get the right people in your city, in your county, in your area, in regards to getting this policing thing done right. Now, closing remarks, I'm going to keep it short, man. It is a blessing to be a blessing. So be a blessing. And I think that will do it for us. Oh, man, y'all look for me, man. I'm about to be I don't know if I can really say it. Put it this way, I'm going to be featured in the Valley, all right, down in the Delta.
Valley.
So y'all make sure that y'all check that out. BET Tales, you make sure you check that out. I'm in a movie on Lifetime. Something else I just did and I forgot. I'm about to do True Murders of Atlanta. So y'all make sure y'all check it out. Look for the beard or the goatee. I'm trying to take the beard off, but every time I cast, they want the beard on. So, but look for one of them. Just keep looking.
And next, one of these upcoming topics too, MJ, I want to talk about Atlanta child murders too. That's been brought back up. And somebody made a post the other day of how it keeps getting brushed under the rug, but I definitely want to have a conversation about that.
All right, y'all. So that's going to do it for Classic Conversations with JT and Low. And
Ask a Cop.
And there it is. And I promise. I don't want to promise. Yeah, I'm going to promise it. I'm going to promise that we're going to start on time next week.
Please.
Even if we have to come down here.
That's not just to you either. That's to you.
It's normally us, but the guys that were doing
we got to come down.
We got to be on time.
Look, we're gonna have to come down. We're gonna have to come down and do a test run.
You want to mute our mic now?
We're gonna have to come down and do a test run. We're gonna have to come down and do a test run to make sure everything can get going. But listen, appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all, please keep tuning in. Please subscribe. UrbanAtlanta.com. Look for Classic Conversations with JT and Low and hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. All right. And we out. You dig?
Shit we on.